So hello fellow Earthlings, this is Earthling 6455463728, and sometimes Joe Rogan really does seem like some kind of a far-right gateway drug crazy person. I was listening to a fairly, innocuous episode with him and Donnell Rollins, and then Dave Chappelle came in. And he was saying stuff like, we really don't know if there was any corruption in the voting that just passed. And I don't know where this dude, how somebody could say that on a platform that he has with those millions and millions of people. And you might say to me, well, he's right. We really don't know if there's anything that went on. So let me make sure I have this right. There have been elections for all of Joe Rogan's life. His entire life, there have been elections that people, for the most part, have never called into question. All people really wanted, as far as I know, with respect to Al Gore and what happened in Florida in 2000 around, I guess, they wanted a recount. There was the hanging ballots, the hanging chads, I believe, but nobody in all of my life has ever called into question the U.S. election to suggest that there is some grand scheme or plan to take the election away from any side. Most people have accepted the results of the U.S. elections without any fuss, to say that there was actual, not even widespread voter fraud, but you're suggesting something even bigger than that. To suggest that somebody stole the election from Donald Trump is to suggest something bigger than just mere voter fraud, because there would have to be a national level, an interstate conspiracy on the level of something of the deep state that people were talking about before the election. A deep state where Obama was still some sort of president or still controlled the US government, or someone like him that still controlled or still had power in the US government in order to control the direction and policies and so on underneath everybody else's radar. Now, if there was a deep state and Trump was against it, how did it fail to prevent him from winning the last time? So this deep state thing is such a threat, such a powerful threat, which is what you are suggesting, Joe. And this is exactly like somebody saying, I'm not racist, but. There is no but. There is no I'm not racist implication. But here's a racist story that I heard. Let me just pass it on to you. Or here's a racist joke. But let me just pass it on to you. Or here's a racist. It's really interesting how, for example, we know that many people in Germany supported the Nazis. And many people in many other countries supported the Nazis and didn't mind that the Jews were being killed. And now we kind of ignore the fact that most of those people in Germany, let's say they were fine. They never had any problems after the war, really because they would have had to prosecute themselves. And that was never going to happen. It's the same way that you have, police investigating themselves. In the rare instances that police actually get convicted of something, we point to those and we say, there is a God. There is no corruption here. But it's the same way where America and Americans look at the situation and say, okay, well, we passed the Equal Opportunity Act in so-and-so days, and now everything's fixed. Everybody in their family can still pass on racism easily without any problems. There's no laws that stop racist beliefs and ideas. And I would dare say that it is possible, maybe even likely, that the sweet, productive, peaceful Germany that we see today probably belies the fact that many people didn't really mind what the Nazis would have done. And given the right situation, the Third Reich, Nazism could easily come back in Germany. And its equivalent in Japan could easily come back in Japan, and in Italy, and in all of these other countries that have this great facade of civility. And even, I would imagine, in America, where all of these different people, Timothy McVeigh, I was surprised to learn, Charles Manson, the guy that killed those people in the church people, the 9 church people. All of these people are trying to light a tinder of the race war. All of those people, when they were asked, said they were trying to start a race war. It's not really a race war. They were trying to start a racial genocide because 80% of the people in America are white, and 13% of the people in America are black. I think Asians make up 5% of the population. It's not going to be a race war if something started. It's going to be a race genocide. It would just be an extermination of all the people who aren't white or who can't pass for white. And it's a simple thing. Joe Rogan saying, we just don't know. I'm an idiot. I don't know for a fact that these allegations about conspiracies and voter frauds are true. But, I wish somebody would come out and... So all of your life, Joe Rogan, you have never questioned the results of any elections. You're 50-something years old. Let's say you knew yourself when you were about 15 and you understood elections and all this stuff. And in the 35 years that you've had awareness, you've never thought to question the veracity of the elections that you were present as an American for, until one guy said, I will think that there's fraud if I don't win. So this guy can barely sit through a meeting without people having to repeatedly call his name to get his attention. This guy believes that Obama was not a real U.S. citizen. This guy believes that there are good people on both sides of the people who want to terrify the 20% of America that is not white. And now, at this time, with this guy who is clearly not one of the most intelligent people that could have been chosen to be president, or even just amongst general people, this guy who's been accused of most of these sexual allegations that anybody could think of, this guy, you follow down the rabbit hole of questioning the veracity of the US elections. And you're like, no, I believe it, but I believe it. But these questionable things that happened, I don't know if they happened or not. I wish somebody would, come out and prove every single one of these things of the 35 years of my existence that I've never questioned the US elections. All right? I believe that Joe Biden won. But these things that have no substantive backing, I don't know if they are really, indications of something deeper. Well, if you don't know, Joe, it sounds like you don't really believe Biden won. If you don't know, that means there's doubt one way or the other. And you can't have doubt one way or the other. You can't keep expressing doubt. I'm not sure. I'm not sure and I believe are not the same thing. I believe is I believe. Full stop. Maybe one of these or two of these things might not be 100%, but mainly I believe. Donnell Rollins had no real interest in the topic. Many of these people that you speak to have no real interest in this topic, but you keep bringing it up and saying that you believe the elections were real, and they, all these experts are saying that the election is, even if there was any kind of fraud, it would not reach the level of being able to overturn the results of the election. You can't have it every which way that you want. You can't. You have to stop. Well, I'm sorry. If you're going to be a reasonable adult, you don't sound like a reasonable adult when you say that you believe something and then you keep bringing up the topic to someone and many people who are not interested in the topic, and your header is, I believe, but. I don't know Christians, real staunch Christians, who are, I believe in Jesus Christ. But if you are a prosecutor, or if you are a defense attorney, you cannot say, I believe, but. If you are a salesman who's selling a product, you don't say, I believe, but. If you are anybody in ordinary society who is trying to be reasonable, you don't say, I believe, but. What that sounds like is somebody who doesn't believe, but does not want to come off as that person who doesn't believe. It seems like you have reasonable doubt. And if you have reasonable doubt, it means that, and gone are the oh, Biden's, he's clearly not mentally capable, because he was in how many debates with Trump? And then he's like, somebody obviously talked to Trump, and in the second debate, he let Biden go and work himself up and get upset and all this other stuff. No, Joe, they said they were turning off people's mics, and Trump probably tried the first time to talk, realized the mic was off, and he didn't keep talking. Were you not paying attention? There are a lot of times when, Joe, I give up. I give up because that's what my family members are like. They will say, yes, but let me share this crazy conspiracy theory video with you. Any of the details of which, if you believe, you have to be a quack. And unfortunately, I guess Joe, like many people that I know, is showing his weakness, his frailty in participating, in questioning, and bringing questions to his country's elections based on nothing. He keeps bringing up the nothings. Then they're not nothing, Joe. They're something. They're what you actually believe in. Even though you title the header of your statements with, I believe. You don't. You do not actually believe.